All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Detroit Lions. I'm so glad they have hit on all of these hires, whether it's John Morton, whether it's David Shaw. Everyone was freaking out so much saying, oh no, the window's gone. And I'm not talking about Lions fans. I'm talking about like ESPN, FS1. Is the Lions Super Bowl window over? Well, they're losing both Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. And I just don't see that in any way, shape, or form, especially because in the last couple of weeks, the Detroit Lions have continuously added absolute geniuses to this coaching staff. But the offense has me extremely intrigued. So, first off, John Morton is the brand new offensive coordinator over in Detroit. I love this. We'll talk about that later on in the video. But most recently, David Shaw and the Lions reportedly agree for him to be the passing game coordinator. Now, this is really interesting. This was formerly the Stanford head coach. They apparently agreed to a multi-year contract to become the new Detroit Lion passing game coordinator, according to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero. Now, David Shaw is really interesting. He gets compared to Harbaugh a lot because he's the guy who was the predecessor to him over at Stanford. Now, Shaw had spent 12 years at Stanford as the head coach from 2011 to 2022. He finished with a 96-54 record. Way too many people have been showing like his recent coaching record at Stanford for the last 5 years. So basically, just to summarize it, his first 6, 7, 8 maybe years at Stanford. Stanford was the Stanford I kind of remember growing up. I'm a Notre Dame football fan. We play them every single season, and they used to always be very good. We are all thinking of Andrew Luck, but it's also Stanford's football program, and they're not nearly anything close to what they used to be. But David could only do so much. So then he was a senior personnel executive for the Denver Broncos this past year in 2024. He actually hasn't been a part of an NFL coaching staff since he was with the Baltimore Ravens as a wide receiver coach all the way back in 2005. But Shaw's brief tenure with the Denver Broncos, you see the connection. John Morton also was with the Denver Broncos, and Tanner Engstrand became the official New York Jet offensive coordinator on Wednesday or Thursday, someday like that. But folks, before we get any further into today's video, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL and Lions content. Try and get this video to 150 likes, folks. That would mean the absolute world to me. So I really like David Shaw, and anybody who Stanford football fan, I live on the complete other coast. I live in Tampa Bay, Florida right now. So anyone who was a fan or is a fan of Stanford football, but even most recently Denver Broncos fans or beat reporters, everybody is upset about losing David Shaw. Pretty much the word on the street is he's going to go out there and find players, find the proper players, free agency, draft, etc., calling plays, calling schemes, the whole ordeal of being the pass game coordinator. He's going to extract the most out of this current personnel group, and he's also going to be able to go out there and find players that fit this personnel group. So I'm really excited. John Morton, especially, I've made so many John Morton line videos in the last week or so since he was officially the offense coordinator for this team. I am very glad they decided to go externally. Obviously, they went internally with Kelvin Shepard, their former linebackers coach. They promoted him to defensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator talk for the last couple of weeks prior to the John Morton hire was either going to be Tanner Engstrand, who, like I just said, is now the New York Jets offensive coordinator, or some people were thinking it was going to be Scotty Montgomery, the running back coach, because Hank Fraley is now the offensive line coach, and the Lions' bread and butter with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery is the run game. So a lot of people were thinking, all right, Tanner is probably gone unless they promote him to offensive coordinator. So the most likely guess, the most likely candidate will be Scotty Montgomery. They kind of threw a curveball and hired John Morton. And I'm sure you guys have kind of seen this. One thing John Morton did a really good job of, the one thing the Denver Broncos did a very good job of this past season was screenplays. Not only did Bo Nix have a phenomenal rookie campaign, they also went 10-7. They broke their playoff drought since it was either 2015 or 2016. I want to say it was the 2015 NFL season. So it's been like 10 years since the Broncos made the playoffs, but they had a rookie QB, and that's what makes it that much more impressive. And you've kind of seen in the last couple of weeks a lot of guys on Sean Payton's Denver Broncos coaching staff getting plucked away from other teams like the Detroit Lions. But one thing, sorry to beat around the bush, one thing they do a great job of were screenplays. And as we know, John Morton was actually a part of the 2022 Detroit Lions. And I saw this excerpt from ProdDetroit.com. So in 2022, the Lions ranked amongst the NFL's best in screen efficiency, averaging about 7 yards per attempt, which was second in the NFL. They also averaged 3.9 EPA per dropback, which was second in the NFL, and a 54.2% success rate, fourth in the National Football League. That 3.9 EPA per dropback was the third highest by any team in a single season over the past 3 years. So this was Jared Goff, just finding the screen guy, right? Well, after John Morton's departure that next season, so 2023, the Lions' screen game efficiency dipped. It still was productive, but it dipped a lot. They averaged 5.4 yards per attempt, which was 12th, so not a crazy drop going from second to 12th, 0.03 EPA per dropback, which was 13th, and a 45.5% success rate, which was 6th. So the point is here, when you look at guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, and I know David Montgomery wasn't fully healthy, but also game script specifically in the second half, like Jahmyr Gibbs on the first drive for the Detroit Lions in that playoff game against Washington was getting all these carries, all these handoffs, all these touches pretty much. And then in the second half, they kind of went away from that, and we saw a little bit of David. We also saw very little amount of Jahmyr Gibbs, but it's also important to keep in mind they didn't really have the football for too much in the second half. And when they did, they had to put points on the board. So you're kind of going to just you're going to trash the run game, or it's not really that. You're going against the clock, right? So you're going to throw the football. You're trying to come back and win this game. But when I look at guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, even David Montgomery, even Sam Laporta, but especially a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams, these two dudes have unbelievable not only speed, but more importantly, they have vision. These guys have crazy good vision. And with the speed of Jameson Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs, I want these guys to get the football as often as humanly possible. And obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown is such a good football player as well. But some of the things that I'm looking into from John Morton, or even David Shaw as well, but specifically John Morton, it has me very excited that this Detroit Lions offense should not see any drop in production, efficiency, scoring, etc., etc. I 100,000% believe that they got the right guy, and this is just amazing news to me. So, folks, thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL and Lions content. Let me know your thoughts down below on David Shaw and John Morton joining this Detroit Lions coaching staff. That's it from me. We'll see you later. Peace.